got that audio dumping.
Oh, I thought you were going to say humping, but dumping is good too. Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Gettin Cheezy with Van and Jeezy. I'm Van.
And I'm Jeezy.
If you're a true player, that means that you watched our Facebook Live video we just did, which was a fumbling, bumbling mess of technology, but it was fun.
You meant to say if you're a true masochist.
Yeah, basically, it was painful to watch. But it was only slightly irritating and mostly fun to make.
Yeah, it was really, really irritating, I would say.
Okay, let's get into it. It was the first week of NFL playoffs, the wild card round.
Wild card weekend, if you will.
If you will. The AFC played on Saturday with the Texans beating the Bills in overtime, thrilling game, 22-19.
Yep, that was a good-ass game.
We've got the Titans beat the Patriots 20-13. You know I love that.
That was another good game.
Sunday, the NFC games had the Vikings beating the Saints, also in overtime, 26-10.
Crazy.
And the Seahawks beating the Eagles 17-9.
Carson Wentz out of commission again.
I feel bad for him, dude. Like, the first chance he has to make a play in a playoff game, first quarter, head smacked, concussion protocol, done.
It was booty.
It was super booty. But then you get Josh McCown steps in, and this dude has been in the league for 17 years. 40 years old, makes his postseason debut. I feel like you can't be in the league that long and like not accidentally go to a playoff game, you know?
Well, they call him. He's coaching high school, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Hey man, can you come like play for the Eagles?
We got a shot at a Super Bowl run here, and we'd like to see if you could stop coaching high school for a bit.
Oh yeah, I'll be right there.
Of course, he said I'll be right there. I guess we're taking the games in reverse order now, though.
It's fine. He's only the second quarterback in NFL history to throw his first playoff pass at over 40 years old. I want to say one more thing about Josh McCown. Looks disturbingly like Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age.
He really does look a lot like him. I agree. But, if I'm going to comment about this game, there's only one name you need to know.
I know what it is.
Is it DK Metcalf?
Yeah.
Yes, DK Metcalf made some of the most incredible catches I have seen. That dude
It was stupid good.
looked so good. From his first days in the league, being kind of an ambling foal in this league, the dude looked like a full-blown stallion.
I think he looked like a stallion almost the entire time. This is his rookie year. He's looked like a stallion almost the entire time.
Yeah, almost. But at the beginning, he looked a little shaky.
I don't know. He got them farmhouse legs underneath him, and he been going. It was ridiculous. Between him and Tyler Lockett, that was pretty good. Now, the Seahawks, Marshawn Lynch, I noticed that this game, he got a little bit of that Eddie Lacy going on, just all around. He got a little bit of belly coming back in.
You think so?
I think he got a little belly coming back in. Miss Van was like, he looks a little skinnier than last time he played. I was like, no, the fuck he doesn't. He got that Eddie Lacy going on.
I don't know about all that.
He was good for 2 yards a bunch. Now, that one touchdown he ran in, that was beast mode. That touchdown was beast mode.
He had less than 10 carries in the whole game, I thought.
Probably. But that touchdown he scored, that shit was straight up beast mode. That was ridiculous.
It really was.
He was stuffed, 100% stuffed, threw a guy off of him, and forced his way into the end zone. It was great. I loved it. Let me pull up the stats here. I got Marshawn Lynch. This can't be right. Maybe it is. I got Marshawn Lynch, 6 attempts for 7 yards and a touchdown.
That sounds right.
The Seahawks have basically no rush game to speak of.
Well, they got that Homer guy.
But then you got DK Metcalf receiving 7 receptions for 160 yards, a touchdown on 9 targets.
Oh, he only had 1 touchdown. I thought he had 2.
Just one.
Well,
I don't really feel I need to talk about the Eagles too much because they lost. But Josh McCown absolutely looked like a guy that came out of retirement to play a game at 40 years old.
yeah.
Like, he played pretty well, but he looked like a guy that came off his couch to play football. And, you know, that last drive, 4th down, they're like inside, like they're in the red zone about to, going in to score. He takes that sack on 4th down to essentially end the game. And that was another time where I said to myself, yep, he's been on the couch for a while. You can't fault him. He did his best, but,
This is a play where if he's a little bit younger and a step quicker, he might have been able to escape and get that first down at very least. When you watch it at game speed, it's like, never mind.
Yeah, I thought even if he did get away, he's probably getting run down from behind. But yeah, you can't fault the guy. I mean, the Eagles are one of the most injured teams in the league. Like, I don't know how they're still standing right now. They've had so many injuries.
I mean, the Seahawks are in the same boat, though. I thought that it was like the battle of the injury-prone.
Yeah.
You just said they don't have a running game. They had to call up Marshawn Lynch.
Marshawn Lynch sitting on his couch, keeps just digging fistfuls of Skittles from a giant bowl and shoving them into his mouth.
I mean, he's not even doing like 12-ounce curls. He's doing like 1-ounce curls.
Just fistful of Skittles. I would do the same thing, honestly, if I could.
I mean, that was the injury bowl, and we saw that Seattle, they had enough pieces to get it done.
We'll be facing them at Lambeau this weekend, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that later.
We've got ghosts of Lambeau past.
Yeah. In reverse, the game before that, the Vikings beating the Saints 26-20 in overtime. That overtime period there, that throw and catch, I think it was Thielen. That long catch.
In overtime?
Yeah.
That was Thielen.
I was like, oh my word. That was Kirk Cousins' best throw of his entire life.
I have to agree. It was on the dot. That was perfect.
You won't hear that said about Kirk Cousins very often, but he dropped a dime on that one. So then that touchdown catch that I think Kyle Rudolph had in the corner of the end zone.
Yeah.
Pushed off.
Of course he pushed off.
Now, I did read a bunch of stuff about this. Basically, the reason why the refs didn't give it to him was that the defender wasn't looking at the ball. He wasn't playing the ball. He was playing the receiver. And at that point, he wasn't really inhibiting the defender from going to make a play on the ball kind of thing. You know, had the defender been turned around and he was pushing the defender away from the football, that would have been different. But that was kind of the feeling I got from the article I read today.
That may be true, but
it didn't matter, right? It didn't matter.
I thought it would have been a pretty weak call.
Yes.
Even if he looked back, it would have been a pretty weak call, I thought. The Vikings sneak it out. They get their win. The Saints, who I was much more worried about playing, they're eliminated. They're done.
Drew Brees looks like straight up shit in that game.
It looked like they should have played Taysom Hill the whole game.
I will say, again, I am so fucking salty we didn't keep that dude in Green Bay. We had him in the preseason 2017. He was on our roster. The fans loved him. I remember liking that guy. I was like, oh, damn, he can be good. We got rid of him so we could keep some joker named Joe Callahan, who is now a free agent in the NFL, not playing for anybody. And we got egg all over our faces because Taysom Hill can do it all. He can throw 50-yard bombs. He can catch 50-yard bombs. He can run for 50 yards. He can throw blocks. That dude, he can tackle. He's on special teams making tackles, too. That dude can literally do everything. And we're sitting here like a bunch of assholes.
He had a 118.8 passer rating.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it.
100% completion rate.
Yep. One throw, one catch.
50 yards.
Nuts. Absolutely nuts. I don't know, man. I really thought the Saints, when they started driving at the end of the game there, and Brees had that big fumble.
That was pretty much the nail in the coffin. But I got to say, look, it's just ridiculous that we let go of Taysom Hill. One other thing, just so you know, he also had 50 yards on the ground. 4 attempts, 50 yards. I don't know if this is still true, but at some point late in the game, every time Taysom Hill touched the ball, the Saints got a first down, whether he rushed it or passed it.
Oh, yeah. I had heard that, too, that he accounted for, every time he touched the ball was a first down. Yeah, I heard that. So, disappointing end to the Saints because they went into the playoffs as probably the hottest team in the NFC going in.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
That's unfortunate for them. So going to the AFC side, and quick note, too. The last 7 playoff games in the league, 4 of them have ended in overtime. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. But I want to say one other thing about that Vikings-Saints game that will help transition, I think, to the AFC.
Yeah.
At least one of the AFC games. This game, the Vikings versus the Saints, was one of 2 games where we saw an elite running back really shoulder and carry a team to victory. Dalvin Cook looked really good coming back, and the Vikings come back for the first time with all of their superstars on the field, with Kirk Cousins feeling good, Dalvin Cook feeling good, Thielen and Stephon Diggs all on the field at the same time. It's like the first time in 8 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, that running game, though, was incredible. And if you go back to the Titans-Patriots game from Saturday, Derrick Henry on his 26th birthday single-handedly carries that team to victory. Ryan Tannehill threw for like less than 80 yards.
It was like 75 yards, yeah. Derrick Henry, 34 carries, 182 yards. At one point, they had a drive where all 75 yards on that drive were Derrick Henry's yards.
Derrick Henry, got all the yards and got a touchdown.
Ran that Patriots out of town.
Derrick Henry.
Do you remember that Clay Henry, though? Clay Henry, got real big on burgers and fries. Now he's down to a normal size. So, this is the second time since 2003 that the AFC champion going to the Super Bowl will be someone not named Ben, Peyton, or Brady.
Wow.
Zero parity in the AFC. The Patriots had made the previous 8 AFC championship games.
That is insane.
And this is the first time in Brady's career he's had back-to-back games with a pick six.
I got to say one other thing about the Titans here. The Titans, even though they come in as the 6th seed, the worst seed in the playoffs officially, they are the only team in the AFC that I think can beat Baltimore.
You think so?
Kansas City maybe, but I really don't think so. I think Tennessee is the one and only team.
Really?
Solid defense, and a team that can literally hog the ball the entire game. If that running game gets started again like it was in Foxborough, it may be the one and only team that can really give them, I think, a threat.
Now, you talked about hogging the ball, and I want to talk about this. Because the Titans pulled some Bill Belichick shit during the game. I got a quick rundown here. There's about, 6 minutes left in the game. The clock is running. And, the game clock continues to run after a pre-snap penalty as long as there's more than 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, or if you're in the first half, as long as there's more than 2 minutes. So, 5 minutes, 52 seconds left in the game. They take a purposeful delay of game penalty. Clock keeps running, so 25 more seconds off the clock. They commit another false start on purpose at 5 minutes, 29 seconds. Another 25 seconds off the clock. And then they ended up running a play to get it down to under 4 minutes.
No, the Patriots committed a foul immediately after that. There was 3 penalties in a row.
Now, that's exactly right, because had the Titans committed 3 penalties in a row, then it's not a sportsmanlike penalty. But so, anyways, this is same bullshit that Bill Belichick did a couple of weeks ago. I mean, granted, he was up by a couple scores, and it was much more dangerous for the Titans to have done this because they, essentially it was a 1-score game. They're running themselves out of time. They zoom over to, they split screen it of, Vrabel and Belichick on the sideline, and Belichick is screaming at the ref, and all you can see are him making the words, "fucking bullshit." He said it about 5 times, and I'm sitting here at home going, yes, let the anger flow through you, Bill Belichick. Have a taste of your own medicine, Bill Belichick.
The only other thing I have to say, though, at the end of the game, Tom Brady throws that pick six, and the guy who intercepts it, he's a big fan of our show, so I just want to remind him that if he had just dropped and let his team knee it out, the Patriots wouldn't have had a chance to score at the end of that game with a few seconds remaining.
Number one, he's not a listener. Number two, you're so excited as a defender catching a ball, and you've got a wide open field in front of you, and there's an end zone. Yeah, I think 90% of people in the league would have done the same thing.
I think that's true only because he had so little field. the Patriots were backed up so far. Like, had he been somewhere else, he would have been able to recompose himself.
Right. I think they were on like the 1 yard line, weren't they? Because that special teams, that punter just drilled it.
It was awesome. I was like, oh, I was actually worried that they did it so perfect that he was accidentally the guy was gonna step in the end zone.
Yeah. Yep. Anyways, I'm always happy when the Patriots lose. This is the first time they've lost at home in a playoff game since 2012.
That's nuts.
Yeah. And people are calling for that. It's the end of a dynasty. Who really knows? But I know that the Patriots lost. And whenever the Patriots lose is a great day. Now, I would like to say the NFL should have a little bit of embarrassment here. The game prior was the Bills and Texans, which was commented on by Booger McFarland.
Oh!
And then you go from Booger McFarland to the game we were just talking about, Texans-Patriots, where arguably the best duo was calling the game in Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. Stark comparison there of two of the worst against two of the best.
As the Bills are driving, Booger McFarland says the literal dumbest shit I ever heard. I got up yelling. My wife was surprised. Mrs. Jeezy was surprised at how angry I was all of a sudden. Booger McFarland on 3rd and 10. Here, I would run a draw play, get a few yards, and then spike it.
Wait a minute. You want to spike it on 4th down?
That sounds like an innocuous comment.
Wouldn't that mean you would turn the ball over while you're trying to score? Isn't that not a very good idea when you're trying to win a football game when you're losing?
I can't think of a single situation where spiking the ball on 4th down makes any fucking sense.
No, because you're turning the ball over. It doesn't make any sense in any situation.
And you're stopping the clock.
Okay, unless you're up by so many points and you're trying to pad someone's stats.
So you don't want them to take a knee because they'll lose a yard?
You want the other team to get the ball back so someone can get a sack to, someone can maybe get a sack to break the league record or something. I don't know.
No, Van. There is no redeeming this comment.
No, I mean I'm not trying to defend Booger by any means. I would never do that.
And Trent Taylor from the San Francisco 49ers has, I think, the perfect statement about this. Not trying to be rude, but man, it's hard to listen to Booger call these games.
It's bad.
That's how I feel. I'm like, I don't want to be rude to Booger, but like, come on, man. Have Van and Jeezy call this game if you can't do it right.
Oh, absolutely. NFL, CBS, Fox, give us a call. We're available.
But seriously, ESPN, definitely we're in your category.
We could just roll up on some Little League games. Just start.
That would be so creepy.
I thought about it. My reason why I couldn't ever call a game professionally or be on the radio professionally is I cannot control my language.
Look, ESPN, call Jeezy.
Just Jeezy. Someone's got to be on that 5-second delay thing so they can keep bleeping me out.
I'll keep Van in a different room, and I'll consult his notes when I need more stuff.
That seems reasonable.
Anyway, the Bills versus the Texans was a thriller.
That game was nuts, dude. You know what? I'm excited for Josh Allen's future. That kid looked, he looked still young yet, playing his first playoff game, but he looked good. He looked very mobile, made some pretty okay decisions, some bad decisions, but
he looked better in the first half, is what I'll say.
Yeah, they were up 16-0 and blew that lead.
They were up 16-0 going a chunk into the third quarter. They eventually end up getting down 16-19, so the Texans go on and score 19 unanswered points before the Bills make that overtime-inducing field goal. But if there is anything to say about this game, it is the incredible, nearly last play of this game where Deshaun Watson has to make something happen. He draws back. There's defenders on either side of him. He takes a big hit. I mean, basically this was it, now or never. He takes a huge hit on the left side and then a sandwiching hit from the right side that in some ways just restabilizes him. And he B-buttons for all of you non-Madden from the 90s and early 2000s, he takes a spin out of it, continues to scramble, and then launches a ball down the field. And it puts the Texans into field goal range, and they do what they have to do. And the Texans win that game off of one of the most masterful and electrifying plays of the playoffs so far.
It's been a very entertaining playoffs. I've been very happy with it.
It's really been good. I mean, it really shames the Super Bowl from last year to see such good football here in the wild card round.
I've been very entertained. I'm still getting shit on by you here in our competition. We had the AFC completely opposite, and so you were right.
Of course I was. Could you say that again?
I mean, 2 weeks ago, we were pretty close. We were tied 2 weeks ago, and now you're up by 8 on me. I'm 60, 36-1. You're 68, 28-1.
This game's too easy.
Yeah, whatever. I was thinking about it, though. That just means that we're both right 2 out of 3 times.
Yep.
Basically. You a little more than me, but, you know.
I mean, you're right 2 out of 3 times. I'm right like 70% of the time.
Yeah, whatever.
Sorry about it.
Coaching news. Ron Rivera goes to the Redskins. So, there's that.
That's good news for them. I think that's going to be a good change and a good place for him. If he can just get that, if he can just get some more talent in there, I think Ron Rivera could turn that program around.
5-year deal.
Wow. Good for him.
Then, this is breaking as of earlier today. Mike McCarthy is the new head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
I can't believe it.
I want to tell you about some crazy shit that I've heard about this. So, apparently, Jason Garrett just, refused to leave.
I'm not going!
Basically, that's basically what it was. This is what was said.
Big ass baby.
Jay Glazer from Fox Sports says, never seen anything like it. Because Jason Garrett, they went to him multiple times and said, okay, you're out as the head coach. And he says, basically a couple times over the course of a week said, hey man, you're fired. He says, no, don't do it yet. I still want to be considered for this job. And every time they do it, they say, we're moving on. We're interviewing other people. And he says, they have to tell him every time, no, dude, it's done. We're moving on. Because they were trying to play it out like, let his contract expire versus, firing him. Basically, Jason Garrett is the ex-girlfriend.
Jason, it's over.
So then less than 24 hours later, the Cowboys hire Mike McCarthy. Here's a weird fucking thing, right? Mike McCarthy had a fucking sleepover at Jerry Jones' house on Saturday night.
At his house?
Yeah. And
he was literally in Jerry World?
Yes. In the Jerry World.
What does it feel like if you look at that with your cheese-colored glasses?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's confusing, isn't it?
It's very confusing. So
you don't know what you should feel about that.
I really don't.
I certainly don't.
Here is okay. This is a CBS Sports article says the meeting with McCarthy went exceedingly well on Saturday. So much so, he stayed over on Sunday to further discussions with the Joneses, and that's when the rubber truly met the road. I'm told the elder Jones was so smitten with McCarthy that he invited him to stay at his estate instead of going to a hotel, and it was that gesture that finally ended Garrett's time in Dallas.
Smitten with McCarthy. They make it sound like some weird affair.
It's so weird.
I mean, and it's not weird for two men to be in love. That's not weird, but
No, you and I are absolutely in love. It's not weird at all.
But what is, this is just the process of hiring.
You don't gotta have sleepovers and shit. I just imagine in The Hangover when they're laying there in sleeping bags, and he goes. I imagine Jerry Jones is booping Mike McCarthy's nose. I don't know. This shit was nuts. And then obviously the internet goes crazy, right? This one from a guy named Warren Sharp. He says Mike McCarthy plans to install a 14-person football technology department, with an 8-person analytics team. Jason Garrett says he doesn't consult win probability data for play calling during the game, suggesting they look at it afterwards to find mistakes.
What?
Here's another one from a guy called Thug Fruit on Twitter. Cowboys fans seem to be excited about Mike McCarthy. I guess if I was eating bread for 9 years, a bagel would slightly excite me too, but it's still bread. I think that's funny as shit. This person says if they hire Mike McCarthy, the first thing he should say at introductory press conference is, Dez caught it.
I don't want to hear nothing about no Dez catching it.
One source says, once you stay at Jerry's house, he doesn't lose his guy. They couldn't think of a more creepy way to, that's so weird. I don't know. I don't know what to make of this whole situation. It's so strange.
It's a strange situation, but I think the bottom line is
it's overdue for Garrett, and McCarthy's a good coach. I'm good to see him. I'm glad to see him moving on. He's not a bad coach. It just wasn't working in Green Bay anymore. So that's that. So with that, Jason Garrett. No, we're just gonna keep doing a Jason Garrett clap for him.
All right, you're right. The medium clap.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know what time it is.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm cheesing my way back to you, Van, with a burning cheese inside. It's the Packers section.
We haven't played a game this week, so I want.
Bye.
I want to say one thing. Oh, that's good. Yeah, we are by. Blake Martinez sets the Packers' single-season franchise record for tackles with 203, breaking the previous record by Nick Barnett in 2005. He had 194. So, good job, Balake.
9 additional tackles on that record.
Good job. Also, I found this one today on Packers.com. Interestingly, the Packers were eliminated from the postseason on the game's final play 3 years in a row from 2013 to 2015. I believe that was the Arizona one where Rodgers got face masked, then the Seahawks debacle with the onside kick, and I don't remember 2015. I try to block all this stuff out for the most part.
I'm blocking it all. I haven't unblocked any of it.
The Saints just pulled off the same trifecta from 2017 to this year.
Saints, good looking out. Happy to not play you next week.
Yeah, me either. But there's obviously some playoff demons here. Actually, just demons in general from Seattle between us.
I don't want to talk about it.
Just flashbacks of 2014, Brandon Bostic jumping in the air, trying to catch that onside kick in front of Jordy Nelson, our most sure-handed guy, fucking it up. The Seahawks getting the ball, going to the Super Bowl, and it hurts so bad. It still hurts.
Exactly. That's what I didn't want to talk about, but now that we've talked about it,
my feelings hurt still.
Now I'm crying.
The Hail Mary. But then the other side, you have Matt Hasselbeck's, we want the ball, we're going to score. Just kidding. Al Harris, interception, pick six, touchdown, we win the game. I don't know, man. I see us as being very evenly matched this year, actually. I think we're very equal teams.
To the Seahawks?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. I just hope the Vikings beat the 49ers because I do not want to face the 49ers.
In San Francisco again? No.
Yeah, that was a bad deal.
I feel like we're matched pretty well against the Seahawks. They don't have a run game, and they have a pretty okay pass game, which it depends on which version of our defense shows up to play on Sunday. I feel like the Smiths can keep Russell Wilson in the pocket, and he's not as good a pocket passer as he's a scrambler, so we'll see what happens there. On the other side of the ball, Seattle's banged up on defense, and I think we're really going to have to rely on the run game. I think Aaron Jones is going to have a big game. I think he's got that chip on his shoulder still from the Vikings saying the light's too bright, get off the field. With the cold weather, I heard there might be snow. I think Aaron Jones is going to have a big game. I think it's going to come. The offense is going to really have to rely on him during this game.
I mean, that's nothing new. We've been relying on Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams all year, and when we want to win, we need those guys to show up big for us and the defense to hold. And if we get that this week, we get that dub.
I think the biggest matchup to watch is going to be DK Metcalf against Jair Alexander and Kevin King.
I'm curious to see if we'll have a designated back covering DK Metcalf or if it's going to be scheme-based where it'll be different guys at different times.
It's going to be a good one. Like I said, I think we're pretty evenly matched. I agree with you. I don't want to play the 49ers. If we get past this week, I don't want to play the 49ers, especially not in San Francisco, especially not in the NFC Championship game because, we've lost to the 49ers in those big games, too, in the playoffs. They've had our number the past couple times we've seen them in the playoffs. At the same time, the Vikings are a divisional opponent, and it doesn't get any easier when you see them 3 times in 1 year.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, time for gossip already.
Quick one here. The only thing I found this week, because I was too focused on the games, is, of course, Antonio Brown, back in the news, trolling the Patriots after they lose. He tweets out a photo of him and Bill Belichick hugging when he was playing the Patriots and says...
So much bro love.
Says, what could have been? Hashtag you changed on me. Hashtag look at me now. Hashtag AB for president.
AB for president?
That's right. And then he tweets out again and says, 2020, only want to play with Tom Brady or no play.
What? If we're going to gossip a little bit, I don't know if you watched the post-game show after Sunday Night Football. Chris Collinsworth starts rambling about where he thinks Tom Brady's going to end up. He pointed to the LA Chargers.
There's been so much of this back and forth and Tom Brady, where is he going to be and whatever else, because his contract, the way it's structured apparently, is that they can't franchise him. And he's going to be a free agent, so he's essentially free to go wherever he wants. He said it's not very likely he'll retire, but he also said, we're only 12 hours from the end of the game. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions. No one really knows yet. We'll deal with it later at some other time. He said he loves playing for the Patriots. He had a great career. There's a couple questions, right? Josh McDaniels, the Patriots offensive coordinator, likely going to end up at a head coaching job somewhere. And does Brady really want to, learn another offensive scheme? Does he want to go somewhere else, learn another offensive scheme? I don't know. He said a lot of times he wants to play until he's 45. I just think all this shit, all this talk of him leaving, going to a different team, whatever else, is ridiculous because he's one of those guys that you have to imagine he's going to retire as Patriot.
Also, for those of you keeping score at home, he is turning 43 this summer.
You have to imagine he's going to be a Patriot forever. You don't want him to end up like Joe Montana playing for the Chiefs or Favre playing for the Jets and Vikings, Manning playing for the Broncos, Joe Namath playing for the Rams. Quarterbacks that are stellar, once-in-a-lifetime talents that go and play somewhere else for a year or two, and it's really weird. A lot of people are saying that he could end up with, like you said, the Chargers, the Bears I've heard, the Dolphins I've heard.
It's interesting. It's going to be weird to see Tommy Boy anywhere besides the Pats, but I'm curious to see where he lands. I don't think this is the end of the Tom Brady show for sure.
I can't imagine. He's not going to go out on a pick six. He's not Brett Favre.
I have to agree.
Only Brett Favre goes out on a pick six.
Brett Favre died the way he lived.
You live by the pick, you die by the pick.
That's Brett Favre, baby.
I mean, there's already like odds makers making prop bets on where's Brady going to go. If he comes back, are they going to make the playoffs, win the division, win the Super Bowl? What's going to happen? People are taking it too far.
So, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, it's time to come back to just this weekend and look at our primetime picks. I'm going to consider all playoff games primetime. So on Saturday, the NFL divisional round for the NFC, with the Vikings facing off against the 49ers in Santa Clara at 4:35. I don't want it, but I know for sure, without a doubt, lock it in, the Niners are going to win that game.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Don't get me wrong, the Vikings are not going to give up without a fight, but the 49ers are just too well-rounded of a team, and the Vikings do not strike at their weaknesses.
49ers did not look awesome at the end of the season either. As with every one of these games, we'll see.
The reason I think the Niners are going to be tough is they've got that really stacked front four. Teams have had success running against them, but not to the extent that we've seen against other teams. So Dalvin Cook's going to have a tougher job this week.
Correct, yeah.
So then also on Saturday, we have the Tennessee Titans going up to Baltimore, coming up to my neck of the woods, to face off against the Ravens at the 8:15 game. Who you got?
I really want to say the Titans. The Ravens defense will not let me have the Titans. As good as Derrick Henry is, Ryan Tannehill's got to do something. You guys have to get more than 75 yards. And I don't see the Titans defense slowing down Lamar Jackson. So I got to take the Ravens.
I'm taking the flock as well. Look, the thing is, the Tennessee Titans are, I think, the best team in the AFC to knock the flock out of competition. And that's primarily because of Derrick Henry's ball-smashing running. It sounds like Ravens are locked in. So then we're looking on Sunday, another divisional round matchup in the AFC. The Texans are coming to Kansas City to face off against the Chiefs at 3:05 on Sunday. Who you got?
Give me the Texans, man.
You're taking the Texans. They obviously have some momentum, and I really think they believe they can't be beaten. But I want to see Kansas City face off against the Ravens, and I think Kansas City's going to do what they have to do. They're going to put some doubt in that Houston Texans team, and they are going to get the dub. Give me the Chiefs.
Well, it's okay that you're wrong.
Then Sunday night, taking the true prime time position on the weekend, we've got the Seattle Seahawks facing off against the green and gold Green Bay Packers at 6:40 p.m.
Packers at home, in the cold, pretty beat-up Seattle team, well-rested Packers team. You already know who I'm taking.
All right, you got the pack, but here's what I got to say. Seattle travels well, plays well in the cold, and I think an excellently coached team.
I hate Pete Carroll.
I don't care how you feel about Pete Carroll. That dude...
He's always chomping on gum looking like a frog. Just...
It doesn't matter how you feel about Pete Carroll. That man coaches a team well.
Fine.
That is a well-coached team. For a team with as many injuries, they just find ways to do what they have to do. And I will also say that Bobby Wagner is the best linebacker in the game today.
He's very, very, very good.
And that is our primetime picks. Give me the pack as well. Despite all of that naysaying, I'm going to take them. Those are the primetime picks. As usual, take what I've said, bet your life savings on it. If Van disagreed in any way, you know it's a doubly sure. And that's our show. You've been listening to Getting Cheezy with Van and Jeezy.
I'm Van.
And I'm Jeezy.
Check us out everywhere.
Internet, phones, all kinds of stuff. We're out there.
2019. You can take a guess at... Oh, shit. It's 2020. You can take a guess as to where we are. It's 2020, you know.
We're out there in the cosmos. We're on the tubes. We're everywhere.
Yeah. Basically.
All right. Love y'all. Happy 2020.
Can let you bye.